Hey y'all. So happy Tuesday. I'm gonna give everybody just a few minutes to get in here. Hopefully everybody's having a good Tuesday. Alright, so if you're here, let me know you're here. If you're a new sub, definitely make sure you let me know where you're from, because I love to know where you guys are from. I know I got some new subs from my last video. Hey Scott. Really, Scott? That's so weird. But all right, hey y'all, so happy Tuesday. Just giving a notification, a few minutes to go out and for people to come in the room. Hopefully y'all are having a good Tuesday, because I just did some babysitting today, so this about the most I did, but it's been a pretty slow Tuesday for me. So, hey Helena, how are you? So y'all, we have to talk about, I want to talk a little bit more about this Notre Dame thing. Hey J.O. Hey, so J.O.'s from Washington, cool. But yeah, I wanted to talk about that a little bit more. Hey Tony, how are you? Hey Cajun, you late today? What? I cannot believe that. Okay, I was actually on time. I clicked on 7 p.m. But hey Ernest, glad you can make it. I know Ernest said something the other day. He was like, girl, I can't keep up with you. But yeah, I still do my live every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. If I don't, for whatever reason, like I think that was last week that I didn't do my live, I will always let y'all know under my community tab. Hey Mike. Mike is from Detroit, Michigan. Cool. Hey Roland. How are you guys? So I don't think I've had that many people from Detroit, Michigan in my chat. But nonetheless, you're here. Happy to have you. Cool. So yeah, I'm just giving people a few minutes to get the notification for everybody to come in the room. Hopefully y'all Tuesday is going good, because mine is. I'm really excited about the weather. This year is going by so fast, but I am excited about the spring weather. So it's like really nice weather. So I've really been enjoying like the outdoors and stuff, which is perfect. But we actually had like tornado weather just a couple of days ago, and the tornado hit Mississippi. I think it hit Texas, which is really crazy. We get a lot of crazy weather around this time. But yeah, so hopefully y'all saw my video from yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. About Notre Dame. Hey Tees, how are you? Scott said, and Cher, she promised she will move to Canada. Why she's still here? Scott, do you know how many people I know that said they were going to move to Canada? Like, literally. So many people. So many people should be going to Canada right about now. Like, the fear-mongering and stuff is just so real and outrageous. But yeah, it should basically be a lot of people in Canada, actually. But all right, y'all. So I have you know, quite a few points that I want to hit tonight or whatever. So, as y'all know, with the cathedral, the Notre Dame in Paris, France, that was recently on fire yesterday. Okay, no, yeah, that was yesterday, Monday. So far, experts are saying it'll take about 10 to 15 years to rebuild like the whole thing. Okay. Macron is saying that he wants to have it built in about 5 years or whatever. So you still basically at this time have sources reporting that it's still an accident, right? To my knowledge, all of the most updated sources, they are still saying that they believe this was an accident due to renovations. All right, I said, y'all start talking bad about Cher. Oh my God, Helena. Oh my God, Macron. But so everybody is basically still reporting that this is an accident. So if you have been with me for a while, okay, you know about my channel. I personally believe that news anchors, personalities, broadcasters, whoever they are supposed to be investigative, okay? These are smart people. They're constantly being bombarded with news. They're supposed to know what's going on in the country and around the world. So I personally hold a belief that they are not only supposed to report the facts, but also be investigative, particularly the ones that sit on these panels on your CNNs, your Fox News, your MSNBCs. They're already hitting us with so much conjecture daily anyway. They're already hitting us with their opinion. So why not just keep that same energy and be investigative? But apparently they have their picks and chooses. But anyway, hey Valdez. And so I wanted to start by showing y'all this, where the other day Neil Cavato basically cut off Bill Donahue while he was talking about the whole thing with Notre Dame. Let me show y'all that. So shout out to the political bandit. I don't know who this is, but I'm using his video. All right, so
Catholic League President Bill Donahue joins you right now on the phone. Bill, we don't know what started this. We do know the repercussions and what has been left as a result of this. Ruins, and ruins that could take some time to fix and make right, and you never can make it as it was. Well, Neil, if it is an accident, it's a monumental tragedy. But forgive me for being suspicious. Just last month, a 17th century church was set on fire in Paris. We've seen tabernacles knocked down. Crosses have been torn down. Statues have been smashed. We don't know that. We don't know. So if we can avoid what your suspicions might be, I do want to look at what happens now. There was a very pricey rebuilding and renovation effort going on that involved a good deal of Catholic fundraising campaigns. I know in this country and abroad, this renovation was paid for up front. So in other words, all the monies were there. And now I'm wondering how much more the Catholic Church commits to this, or do you think now they first want to get to the bottom of it? Well, first they have to get to the bottom of it, and they will rebuild it. There's no question about that. And certainly the Catholic Church will come up with the money for it. That's not even a question. But I'm sorry. I mean, when I find out that the Eucharist is being destroyed and excrement is being smeared on crosses, wait a minute, this is going on now. We can't, Bill, I love you, Bill, but we cannot make conjectures about this. So thank you very much. Bill, I'm sorry. Thank you very, very much.
So, y'all, this is him literally cutting him off. He's like, no, we can't do any conjecture. I'm sorry about your suspicions, this and the other. So Okay, let me be clear, right? News personalities, I think, do walk on very thin ice for, what they say. They should for what they say and what they say, because a lot of times we have to remember that once that initial story gets out, if you ever try to retract it, you're not going to have as many people to see the retraction as you would the initial story most times. But with this particular case, every single thing this man said was facts. It's not like he just completely pulled this out of freaking thin air and was like, oh, well, I bet it could be, intentional. I bet it could be this or that. Like, literally. Okay, it is a well-known fact that for several months now, a lot of religious structures have been burning to the ground. And here you literally have him doing what I think exactly what he was supposed to do, but still make that distinction. We don't know for sure, but you need to know what's going on in France right now. Like, I mean, that just makes sense to me. And it's facts. I don't think he said anything disrespectful. I don't think it was I don't think it was over the top. But he's like, look, there's been several churches. This has been happening. So common sense would be to say, we don't know for sure yet. But this is what's been happening so far. Also, y'all probably haven't heard about this because it won't get as much coverage. Okay. Oh no, let me show y'all this article first because so this whole thing about coincidences, like, are there really any coincidences? So even though I knew churches in France had been set ablaze, were being vandalized, I had absolutely no idea the extent to that this is happening. So that makes me even more concerned that this guy was cutting him off on Fox News, because it's not like this is like happening 1, 2, 3 times, y'all. 875 churches in the last year, not 10 years. Okay, last year. So this is from the sun.co UK. No respect. Thugs set fire to churches and smear poo. That's disgusting. Poo. Okay, that's gross. On walls amid warnings. France's Christian heritage is under attack from militant secularism. Okay, so this was written April 6th. This was 10 days ago. Figures show 875 churches in France were vandalized last year. Churches across France have been set on fire and poo smeared on walls, as the country's Christian heritage is said to be under attack from militant secularism. Recent incidents have included a fire in Saint Sulpice Church in Paris. Human poo daubed on a wall in Notre Dame, disinfects in Nimes, and an organ vandalized at Saint Denis Basilia outside Paris. All right, so y'all see this here. Some politicians have claimed the country's Christian heritage is under threat from petty criminals encouraged by militant secularism. Figures released by French police show that 875 of France's 42,258 churches were vandalized last year. A further 129 churches reported thefts from the premises. The Interior Ministry said that 59 cemeteries were also vandalized. So this just goes on to talk about this a little bit. So I talked about Saint Sulpice in my video yesterday. I think that just happened recently, like within the last 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks. If I'm not mistaken. So anti-Christian acts came against the spread of fundamentalist secularism that is no different from religious fundamentalism. Officially, France is a secular country. It banned wearing a face-covering veil or other mask in public places in April 2011. So, for the news to try to ignore this, to me, it's a miscarriage of the duties that they are supposed to uphold, which is to inform people, be informative, tell the truth, be investigative, and all these other things. So that's just ridiculous to me. A coincidence? I mean, I don't know. We'll have to stand by on that and find more information. But I really, at this point, don't know if there are any coincidences. And I use the word coincidences very loosely, okay? Also, now y'all might have not heard of this, okay? You're not going to get as much media coverage as you would get about the cathedral. But let me tell you this. So fire erupts at Al Aqsa Mosque compound on Temple Mount in Old Jerusalem. So one of the structures in the mosque in Jerusalem has caught fire on Monday night. At the same time, a massive blaze was ravaging Paris' Notre Dame Cathedral. The fire was put out quickly with no injuries. The fire broke out in a guard's room outside the roof of the Marwani prayer room, noting that the fire brigade of the Islamic Waqf handled the matter successfully. Footage posted on social media shows smoke rising from the top of the prayer room, also known as Solomon's Stables, as firefighters tried to extinguish it. Okay, so this is the third holiest site in Islam that has been the center of the ongoing Arab-Israeli conflict. Now, y'all, this happened on the same exact night as the cathedral was burning in France, in Paris, France. Is this a coincidence? Now, I will say this. If you pay attention, okay, if you pay attention, there are literally entities that intentionally cause, allow, initiate chaos to divert attention, to further agendas, to cause chaos. For this to be happening at the same time, it could have been, well, I really don't even want to say that it was, it could have been like retaliation, because this was happening at the exact same time. There's a lot of religious tension that is going on in Paris, France, that the media is not talking about. Okay. A lot of people didn't like that I brought up the yellow vest protest in my last video, saying, oh, you know, the yellow vest protest did not do this. The yellow vest protests are peaceful, this and the other. But what people need to realize is anytime you have any type of social group, activists, anything that are in the media, catching head waves, any of that, a lot of times they will, whoever they may be, will send extremists, they will send agitators to be a part of these groups. So we really don't know. And it's so much going on in France right now that is really just a lot to look at and to think about. And I just find it really odd. This was one day before Macron's speech. He was supposed to address people about the Yellow Vest protest. So it's so much going on in France right now, and it's important for people to not just get one side of the story. Do y'all realize the Yellow Vest protests are going into their 22nd week of protesting? There has been rioting. There has been people going to jail. I think there has been some injuries. Do you know there will be more people to know about the burning of the Notre Dame than the protests that have been going on for several weeks, just because of how the news cycle works and the information it gets to us and don't. So I particularly feel like that was very relevant, because some people, you don't know who's just coming across this information. So you just don't know. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot going on. And that's another thing. You're right, Todd, because you said can't trust the mass media with anything. Absolutely. Like, okay. And Tony said there has been deaths. So I thought so, but I didn't want to speak incorrectly. But like I said, if that whole thing, whether accidental or intentional, and thank you, Ernest. Thank you so much for the super chat. That whole thing, hey Gab, that whole thing, whether intentional or accidental, is still almost symbolic for everything in the tipping point that's going on in France right now. And I know some people are like, why do you care? Why does that matter to you? Why are you speaking on this? Blah, 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 blah. Let me tell y'all, I don't even know how I even ended up finding out about the Yellow Vest protest, okay? I'm not like super huge on global news and super informed about everything that's going on globally, but this Yellow Vest protest really ended up catching my eye. And at the time, I'm like, when it was going on, I remember doing a video about it, and a lot of my peers, my family members, we did not know about this. The media was not covering it. And so it really brought my attention to France, and why I think this is particularly important to Americans, to Black Americans. France is a great example of, literally, if you look at the EU, if you look at the United Nations, they are a great example of a lot of the policies that have been that are currently trying to be pushed on us. For example, with the carbon tax, I'm like, you literally have certain politicians, and I'm sure you guys know who. You literally have certain politicians pushing a carbon tax to us here, while literally France is burning due to people rioting from high taxes, carbon taxes. You literally have an influx of immigration that is happening, and people are starting to feel how that affects them financially. You have, I don't, like, so much going on in France, though those same policies being pitched to us, and France is the epitome of these policies not working, and there being an uprising and social tension because of these things. So this is why this is relevant. It's very relevant. How you gonna come to me? How you gonna come to me talking about a carbon tax? And let's not even forget, in France, or the UN was basically trying to make it make hate speech illegal, and they wanted that to include speaking on illegal immigration, gender, and a lot of other things. And who do y'all think that would negatively impact the most? or first or disproportionately. Thank you, DigiByte. Thank you so much. So it's very relevant. Anytime something is being pitched to me, I want to know where else it's working. I want to know who else is doing it. So if you over here talking to me about carbon tax and illegal immigration or immigration and what's the other thing I just said? I lost my thought. Speech. And I see y'all over there putting people in jail for misgendering. You're putting people in jail for even mentioning illegal immigration. And I think about the fact that y'all were literally trying to bring the U.S. into this. I gotta run and tell people, because who do you think that would impact? Kevin Hart to be in jail right now. Just Hilarious to be in jail right now. Louis Farrakhan to be in jail right now. Like, it's real, and these things are possible. And this is why I be telling people, and I've spoken on, well, I haven't spoken on Louis Farrakhan, but I spoke on the whole Kevin Hart thing, the whole Just Hilarious thing. If these type of policies, if we normalize this, and this comes to the U.S., and we know you already feel like Black people are disproportionately being put in jail, why would you want more restrictions? Why would you want that? People always look at stuff as not them. You know what I mean? Like, you think, oh, that will only affect extremists. Good for them. That has nothing to do with me. Oh no, honey. They're coming to your front door next. They will be there. So this is what's going on in France right now? Like, we literally just went past it. We literally just dodged it by not signing a migration pact, which was just like months ago. So this is very relevant. Like, people need to know what's going on. I'm just saying. But Lenny said, yes, we need to pay attention. The media just distracts with manipulating our emotions. 100%. 100%. Agreed. Elvis said people should read the UN Immigration Compact that Mexico and Canada signed under climate change. I'm gonna have to read that. I'm gonna have I don't think, let me see. Did I know that the Mexico? I don't think I knew about Mexico, but I knew Canada was signing on to the migration pact. But literally, y'all, these people the EU is literally a group of countries under the same governing laws. Like, do you literally want somebody overseas that has a totally different culture than you, views, religious views, having any say-so on your laws at home? Like, that's just a very, very, very slippery slope, okay? Just call me cute. Said, are you planning to represent voices politically in your area? Nope. I feel like a lot of things, whether it be the government, the police force, whether it be even medical personnel, I feel like a lot of times you have people that go into these agencies or these platforms with very good intentions, to help people, make the world a better place. But I feel like a lot of these things are really cutthroat. And if you have any type of, any type of anything, it will exacerbate it. And a lot of times these politicians, I really just don't like how money, everything is it's about the money. So I don't know. I could just see myself being frustrated because it would just be a serious thing to me. Okay, Tiffany, I will. But no, people tell me, "Oh, you should get involved in politics." I would have to really be able to be funded, like, with people that know that I can't be bought. Like, if that makes sense, what I'm trying to say. But you're right, Levon. Levon said the world is ran by money. Absolutely right. It's so much corruption. And then also sometimes a lot of times when people get in positions and things become so mundane, it just becomes a job to you. You know what I mean? I was just talking about this in the last live I did, how when these politicians vote on certain legislation, why do you feel like you always have to vote with your party? To me, in itself, I don't agree with that. I think that's highly suspicious and problematic. So you're telling me you never have any thoughts outside of, party lines? Like, sometimes we shouldn't be used as political puns. It's supposed to be about what's best for the country, what's best for the people, not proving, oh, I'm so Democrat or I'm so Republican, I'm sticking to the script. No, you are supposed to do what's best for the people. And a lot of times they just don't do that, and it becomes one big ugly game. So, and you're exactly right, just cute. Just call me cute. Mob mentality. That's exactly what it is. And we're the casualties. You know what I mean? That hurts us. Not them, but to them it's just, oh, I'm a Democrat. This is my job. Like, no, that's not what you signed up for. That's not the oath you took, but that's what it becomes. So, and then a lot of people also, I think a lot of people are starting to see that politics is not only a way to get rich quick, okay, but there's a lot of corruption that goes on as well. And so I think now that people are also seeing that, you have people that are also taking advantage of that. Thank you so much, Lockbird. Thank you. But yeah, it's crazy. So I don't know if the truth is ever going to come out about the whole Notre Dame thing. We'll see. Right now, like I said, they are maintaining that it's accidental, but I'm like, that's a hell of an accident. This is your 876th accident. Like, your 876th church burning or vandalism in a year. Some kind of accident, I mean, but we will see. Hopefully more information will come out. Like I said, people use certain groups or they use certain tension that's already there to further create chaos. That does happen. Sometimes in these groups, you will have people that really have good intentions and they want to see change. And it's sad how the media will come along and portray them. And it's also sad when people try to take away from their message by going to the extreme. We've seen this happen with feminism. We've seen this happen with Black Lives Matter. We've seen this happen. I mean, it's happening now with the yellow vest protesters. You literally have Macron referring to them as thugs. You know, they're thugs. Some of them just want to cause trouble. And I guarantee y'all, some of them are agitators. Like, that's going to happen with any group. So, but, yeah. So, let's talk about your girl, Cher. Okay. So, let me show y'all this. So, y'all probably already heard the writer said, don't come in here talking about a girl, Cher. Don't even do it. But we about to talk about Cher. Alright, so this was somebody screen grabbed this, okay? This was what did I do? Okay. Somebody screen grabbed this. So this was 2017 compared to 2019. So 2017 Cher was like, those who can must take a dreamer into their home and protect them. I'm ready to do this, prayer hands. Others in my business will do the same. Sanctuary. 2019 Cher was like, now listen, I understand helping struggling immigrants, but my city, Los Angeles, isn't taking care of its own. What about the 50,000 plus American citizens who live on the streets? People who live below poverty line and hungry? Question mark. If my state can't take care of its own, many are vets, how can it take care of more? Girl, get them, Cher. Ain't nothing wrong with changing your mind, honey. But listen, I told y'all in my live the other day. People was like, how Trump, because Trump was like, bam, you want them? We'll drop them off to you. We'll bring them to LA. We'll bring them to San Francisco. We'll bring them to NYC. What's up? Bring the families together. Some people's like, how can you support that? You know what I mean? How can you support that? I mean, what are people to do? Really? So this is Cher. So now all of a sudden, 2 years later, oh, please don't drop them off in my city. You can drop them off anywhere else. As long as they were dispersing all over the world. I wonder how many she took into her home in 2017 and her other business partners. I have to do a little research into that. But, yeah. Apparently something he said is resonating with people. Is making it click. Because now people get it. It's like a light bulb. You have a lot of people coming out now. Now it's a problem. It wasn't a problem before when it wasn't your problem. But now it's a problem. So what's the problem? Cher. But regardless, of course, y'all know people was going in on Cher. Poor Cher. She halfway retracted, but she didn't delete the tweet because it was true. I feel very bad for people like this, because celebrities in particular, because nothing she said, I mean, it's just true. It's just true. Nothing she said was true nor offensive. She didn't use, any ugly language. You know what I mean? I particularly don't find it offensive. Now, I can't speak for everybody, but obviously, people were coming for poor Cher, girl. I tell you the truth, girl. But that's how it be when you stray even a little bit for any type of mainstream media narrative. You need to be prepared for the backlash. Like, it's going to happen. This is where we are in 2019, when I thought we lived in a country where people could agree to disagree and have our own opinions, but not the case, and Cher is going to learn today. But anyway, so let's talk about this a little bit, because honestly, what Cher said is true. And in 2019, I still can't understand what the debate is about, where's the disconnect, what people aren't getting about the illegal immigration versus immigration argument. So I did want to talk about that a little bit. So let me just show y'all a little bit of this video, okay, that I was watching today. Now, this is in San Francisco, okay? Now, LA has the most homeless people, but San Francisco, which is also right there in California, sunny California, has the highest rate. So I'm just going to show y'all just a few minutes of this and we'll talk about this.
It's just a mess. There's everywhere. It's just a mess out here. Where is the poorest, dirtiest, most depressing slum in the world? In Haiti? India? Africa? Is that what this is? No. I'm in America. One of the richest parts of America. Highest rents in all of America. This is San Francisco today. Encampments of street people everywhere. Some pitch tents, planning to stay a long time. Some have mental problems.
Vampires are real and I'm paranoid as all hell.
Other street people complain about them.
They run around and they shout at themselves. They make it bad for people like us that hang out with a sign. Hey, bitch, think I come correct.
Some people shoot up in plain sight.
It's nasty seeing somebody actually shoot up drugs, like right there. The police don't do anything about it. They'll get somebody for drinking a beer, but they'll walk right past people using needles.
Every day in San Francisco, an average of 85 cars are broken into.
They're called smash and grabs.
Inside Edition left.
So I'll leave the link to this below. But can y'all imagine walking down the street in San Francisco, you know, carrying a little beer, and the police will scoop you up while people literally using needles right there, shooting up, broad daylight. Police walk right by. Y'all, I just learned of this recently, but did y'all know that, I don't, y'all let me know if this already happened or they're literally like preparing it to happen, but the government to actually supply needles to people to basically lessen like disease and stuff on the street. I can't remember if that was being proposed at the current time or it's already happening, but either way, that is like literally the wildest thing I've heard. But this is where we headed. Okay? This is what happens when your city funds other things. I did videos on immigration. I don't know the top figures off the top of my head, but LA and San Francisco spends millions, okay, a year funding or basically upholding their sanctuary cities. Yet you can't keep people off the streets. They were recently, I did a video about this, they were recently having problems paying their teachers. But these are the things that people don't want to address. So now people are going to have to face that because they're about to get dropped off in your city. So I don't know if y'all know this, but just recently, this just happened. All right. ICE arrests more than 280 at Texas business, biggest workplace immigration rate in decade. This just happened. What was the date on this? Okay, so this was April 3rd. Federal immigration authorities arrested more than 280 employees of a Texas company in what officials said was the biggest single workplace raid in a decade. The Homeland Security Investigations Unit of Immigration and Customs Enforcement said the employees of CBE Technology Group, Inc. in the city of Allen, north of Dallas, were arrested on administrative immigration violations and that they were working in the United States unlawfully. The raid was a part of an ongoing investigation into complaints that the company may have knowingly hired people who are in the U.S. without authorization and that many of those workers were using fraudulent identification documents. CBE Group Incorporated is a New Jersey-based company that refurbishes and repairs consumer tech products and has a national receiving center in North Texas. Let's see. As far as immigration-related arrests, this is the largest ICE work site operation at one site in the last 10 years. Now, I don't know how true that is because I'm going to show y'all some other information as well. But they just talked about this. So this recently happened, okay? And I want to read this part. So Berger said that the federal law requires all employers verify that workers are in the country legally with the I-9 form. I said an audit of those forms that began in January confirmed numerous hiring irregularities. In the case with CBE, we received many tips that they were hiring illegal aliens who were using fraudulent documents. Now, I want to talk about this in these raids because some people, let me stop for 1 second. Some people really don't get it. It really hasn't clicked yet, okay? They really don't understand how illegal immigration impacts the American worker, impacts the Black American worker, impacts the low-skilled worker, okay? They really don't get it. So I'm going to try to just quickly, briefly, just explain it, you know what I mean, as simple as possible, because maybe I haven't done this in my other videos, but I did want to mention this also so y'all kind of know where I stand on the issue as well. So let's take a little trip back to this was the article. I actually had a better article, but I could not find it anywhere. So I ended up using this article. But this is from postgazette.com. And this was back in 2007, okay? An immigration raid aids blacks for a time. So this was in Stillmore, Georgia. After a wave of raids by federal immigration agents on Labor Day weekend, a local chicken processing company called Kreider Inc. lost 75% of its mostly Hispanic 900-member workforce. Okay. The crackdown threatened to cripple the economic anchor of this fading rural town. But for local African Americans, the dramatic appearance of federal agents presented an unexpected opportunity. Kreider suddenly raised pay at the plant. An advertisement in the weekly Forest Blade newspaper blared increased wages at Kreider, starting at $7 to $9 an hour, more than $1 above what the company had paid many immigrant workers. Now, like I said, this was back in 2007. I'm not currently aware of what the current minimum wage is, but I'm still going to talk about that a little bit more. But anyway, the company began offering free transportation from nearby towns and free rooms in a company-owned dormitory near to the plant. For the first time in years, local officials say Kreider aggressively sought workers from the area state-funded employment office, a key avenue for low-skilled workers to find jobs. Of 400 candidates sent to Kreider, most of them Black. The plant hired about 200, okay? So, let me see. It was another part. Okay, so I want to read this part. The sudden reversal of economic fortunes and still more underscores some of the most complex aspects of the pitched debate over immigration. Do illegal immigrants take jobs from low-skilled American workers? The answer is still more initially appeared to be yes, but in the months since Kreider began hiring hundreds of African Americans, the answer has become more complex. The plant has struggled with high turnover amongst Black workers, lower productivity, and pay disputes between the new employees and labor contractors. The allure of compliant Latino workers were willing to accept grueling conditions despite rock-bottom pay has proved a difficult habit for Kreider to shake, particularly because the local native-born workers who replace them are more likely to complain about work conditions and aggressively assert what they believe to be the legal pay and workplace rights. So let me tell y'all about that. Okay. After this whole situation with Kreider, they were studying, trying to see the impact of this on the community, trying to see how illegal immigration impacted locals, right? So it started off like, oh, okay, now Black people get to get these jobs. American people get to get these jobs. American people living here that pay taxes in the community, born here. But then when this high turnover rate started happening, lower productivity, okay, it's basically a way to say, and people love to say this, and I hate when people say this, Black people don't want them jobs. Black people don't want them jobs. Let me tell y'all what the problem is. And the problem is not that Black people don't want the jobs. The problem is that Black people are not going to work in subpar, dangerous conditions, doing the work and not being paid sufficiently for it. So let me tell you how this is a win-win for everybody involved, right? You literally have this plant here. 75%, okay, are illegal immigrants. Democrats always talk about everybody needs to pay more, raise minimum wage. To do that, you have to create competition. So if those, whatever job it may be, in this case, a chicken plant, if that chicken plant wants to hire workers, if that chicken plant wants to stay open, they are going to have better conditions, and they are going to have to pay the workers. It means that they have to compete with the manufacturer or the company down the road paying their people $12 an hour, $15 an hour. If they don't want high turnover rates, they have to go out here and compete for workers and pay them what they're worth. Isn't that what people want anyway? Isn't that what the middle class and the poor want? To stick it to the rich, stick it to the elite? How better to do that than to make them compete for the wages that they're going to pay you? And so if you really care about humanity, you really care about making these people pay their share fair that own these companies, why would you let them hire people in subpar, very poor conditions, okay, which actually are probably conditions that go against labor laws or what we find to be humane? And why not make them compete and say, hey, if you're not going to pay me $12 an hour, $13 an hour, I don't want to work for you. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that work. Now they have to compete. Now they have to get out here and put out signs. And now they have to work to pull people from other plants to find low-skilled workers. And low-skilled workers, money talks. We just talked about this earlier. Money makes the world go round. So if you want people to come in there and cut those chickens or snap their necks or whatever the heck else they do with these plants, you have to compete. And ultimately, that's what people want anyway, right? Or at least I thought, which is for these organizations, these companies to have to pay their workers more and be fair to their workers. And how better to do that than to actually make them compete for the workers? I mean, that just makes sense to me. So now, once you have workers, illegal immigrants that are not even supposed to be working there, once they're cleared out, that chicken plant that was paying $7 an hour, now they're going to be talking about sign-on bonuses. They're going to be talking about wage increases. They're going to be talking about better working conditions. So it is intellectually dishonest for people to be out here protesting for minimum wage to be $15 an hour while steady helping suppress minimum wage. Because if you get rid of the workers that do not apply, that are not legally able to work, wages are going to automatically go up, because they're going to say, well, dang, now we can't just go grab somebody to do this same work for $4.25 or $3 on the table. Now we actually have to compete with these other large companies, and we have to pay these people what they're worth or what they want. If these companies want to stay open, they'll do what they want to do. If they don't want to stay open, I say good riddance. Let them close. So, let them close. Cajun said the average construction job pays $18 an hour, and you saying black people don't want them. I know, right? And that's for the ones that's paying how they're supposed to be paying. How I said successful black women all throughout history have hired whites. I can't attest to that. I can agree. I worked at a black-owned company by a black woman who hired several other black women and hired people directly from the community. And that's something I definitely stick by. Now, I can't speak to other people's experiences, but that's been my personal experience. I've never done any stats to see or say otherwise. So, Levon said automation will take over. That's an interesting point. I noticed that I talked a little bit about, what's the guy's name? Oh, I can't think his name. Andrew Yang. So with his plan, he's talking about, he wants to give people, I think he said $1,000 a month but I never really understood how that actually curbs the automation problem. Like, I never really understood how that actually solves a problem. It seems very much so like a Band-Aid. So, I don't know. But I don't know how they'll end up solving it. I don't know if the government will have to further incentivize people to not do automation or not do automation so quickly. I know you don't really want to suppress technology, but literally there are already budget cuts that happens. I mean, I thought that was one of the reasons these companies get budget cuts, because they basically are helping the government in return by hiring people. So I don't know. But I feel like if these employers can't compete, good riddance. Close down. You know what I mean? If the 1%, 2% at the top of your company, if the CEO has to make a little bit more, a little bit less to raise the minimum wage at that particular job, so be it. And I thought that's what people been saying they wanted anyway. I mean, it just makes sense to me. Scott, what do you disagree with? And Cajun, I absolutely 100% hate talking to machines. I absolutely hate it. But I do think something will be done to eventually incentivize these companies where it can happen. Lenny said, good info. People don't think about these things. Politicians just use our compassion against us. Absolutely. Absolutely. If you tell me, oh, I just lost my thought. Oh, if you tell me people are being separated from their families, this is happening, that is happening, okay, I get that. Like, I get that. And I don't think, people just want to see that happen. But naturally, it is our natural instinct to be competitive. Literally, it is our natural instinct to be competitive. I was just babysitting my little cousins today, a boy and a girl, brother and sister, put the crayons in the middle. Put the crayons in the middle. I told them to sit down and color so I can relax, get myself together. Before I know it, the little girl grabbing up all the crayons, and she's like, no. And I'm like, look, just at least give him one so he don't just write all over the walls. But I don't think somebody went and taught them that. I don't think somebody said, don't share crayons with your brother. But if you just observe children, they're just naturally competitive, and sometimes you naturally have those leaders that stand out amongst groups if you ever just watch them. And so that's not a bad thing to want resources for you, your family, particularly when you are paying the taxes that say you have the right to that. I mean, but Kaden said automation is already here, and people will always want to talk to people. That's so true. The human connection is so strong, and I think a lot of people try to kind of like downplay that idea. but it's super strong. Do y'all know how many times I buy stuff just because like it's a local person selling it, or knowing that somebody handmade something? Like, I went to the farmer's market this weekend with my mom, and I mean, it was just so nice. And I'm like, I don't really need to buy anything, but I just wanted to. So I ended up buying, because the girls, she was like, oh, I was looking at the candles and smelling them. And she's like, oh, these were handmade by a lady about 3 cities over, and this and the other. And I'm like, give me one. I'll take it. You know what I mean? And I think people downplayed it. And it's been a lot of times just because of that human interaction, or people having a positive me having a positive experience, or that communication with a person. I'm like, I'll spend a little more. I'll buy a little more. I'll buy what I wasn't even planning to buy. Wasn't even planning to buy coming in here today. Just because of that customer experience. People love that, y'all. People love customer experiences. And these companies, these larger companies, they talk about this in their branding pitches and stuff like that. They talk about this stuff. So Atticus said, if we are smart, we would get our Twitter, Google, and Facebook and go outside. I love the outdoors. I'm like obsessed with the sky and the clouds. Like, if you just take time to really just stop and breathe, like, we are constantly always being bombarded with information, with drama, with, just everything, sad stories. And sometimes you just have to get away and breathe. I'm taking a little break from Instagram right now. And sometimes I just take a break from social media altogether, like for a few days, just enjoy my family, just do fun things, go outdoors. So I definitely recommend it. No, Bean, I'm not from Atlanta. I'm from Mississippi. Attica said chat rooms like AOL were better. Look, the fact that I even remember AOL. That's crazy, man. Time flies and so much stuff changes. Time flies, man. It is so crazy. And like I said, only thing I have is YouTube. Yeah, sometimes I think about deleting stuff too, but unplugging is like definitely important or whatever. But all right, y'all, if you're new here, because I do see a couple of new names, please make sure you give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank y'all for watching. I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. Like I said, every Tuesday I'm here live, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, unless I say otherwise, and it'll always be under my community tab. Thank y'all so freaking much for the super chats, so much. And also thank y'all to people who are always supporting me. So cool. And I'll be so excited about that. But anyway, I'll probably put out a couple more videos this week, but I will definitely see y'all next Tuesday. Y'all have a great week and talk to you soon. Bye.